The 27th of October, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
And where exactly did we get up to? Oh, we're doing Abaya's answer. Doing Abaya's answer. Okay, we're trying to understand the Mishnah and the Brisa. Okay. Okay, Lou. Anybody else here?
Nope, just me.
Oh, Phil's on the road. Okay. Just say that. So,
So Abaye Amar,
yeah.
Filu Tema. You can even say ed, the bereshum. This and this are resealed. In other words, the case of the Mishnah and the case of the Brisa are both cases where the lost barrel was resealed. Below kasha. And there's no problem. Khan, here in the Mishnah, Kodem Sanif Tehu Ha Otzaros. It's before the storehouses are opened. In other words, they haven't started selling the barrels yet. And there aren't very many barrels that are resealed. Because you resealed them because you opened them up because you were going to sell them. And then you closed them back up again. So they're rare. Khan here, the achar shenif techu ha'otzaros. It's after the storehouses are open. So now there's a lot of commerce going on with these barrels. And resealed barrels are common. So when resealed barrels are common, the chances of identifying who the owner is are much reduced. So in that environment, he can keep it. But in the environment of the Mishnah, where they're very rare, so it's not so hard to identify the owner. So he's got to announce it.
So according to Abaya, before they open up the season of selling, there's not so many barrels that are sealed. Is it there's not so many barrels that are sealed? There's not so many barrels altogether. The seal is supposed to be the simon. If in any case they have if in any case they're all sealed, what's the difference whether there's a lot of them or a few of them? You can't tell whose is whose.
Well, my English says a sealed container found after the storehouse is opened to sell wine to storekeepers when thick seals are more common and therefore not an effective means of identification. Maybe it's a matter of knowing. Maybe it's a matter of knowing that Plony's the one that that jumps the gun and sells his barrels before the shop's open. So if you find a resealed container, you say, "Oh, it must be Plony's." Where is this place?
We're talking about the answer of Abaye
Where is it?
on Chaf Gimel Amid base.
23B2, Roy. Okay, thanks. Left-hand column in the middle, it says, Abaye said. Right, thank you.
Okay, I suppose that so it's let's see, take a look at Rashi actually. Rashi has a Rashi over here. Kodem sheniftahu haotzros.
Okay, let's see if I can find it. Chodem. Kodem sheniftahu haotzros. Before they opened these storehouses. She'adayin lo hagia zman muchri ha vios vichid ba'alma hu da'avid hayu rosham Simon. That still, it's not. What's Hagia?
Arrived.
The time has not arrived for selling the barrels.
Okay.
The yichad means what? Alone.
The yachid.
The
Oh, here, Phil. Yachid, a singular individual.
Ba'alma, who the vid. He's alone.
Yeah, he alone himself is the Ovid, who's doing this, who's I guess involved in selling right now.
And what's Rosham?
That's the that's the resealing of the barrel.
So his resealed barrel is a simon.
So I guess what Rashi, welcome Phil.
I'm on a bus, so I won't necessarily be speaking. Okay.
Okay, we see. Looks like a nice bus there. Baruch
Yeah.
Hashem.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Hey, Phil,
Hi.
I found your email in my list, so I don't know why you didn't get the newsletter.
There were a different name and go into spam or something. I don't know.
I sent you an email with the email I found, which I think matches the one I have for you.
Well, it usually gets there. I don't know why it didn't get there this week. Okay, we'll figure it out yet.
Okay,
And I'll get you the other one tonight or tomorrow.
great, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I have a note over here that says that Abai is explaining that when we say in the Gemora Rishum that it's resealed, and this barrel which is resealed is going to be a simon during a specific time of year, Kodem Sheniftachu HaOtzros, before Rashi defines it as it's before the time of the selling of these barrels. In other words, there's the general time of year that the barrels are sold, and this is before that season. And so, like that, what Rashi's explaining is that most the barrels that you'll find, they have a different type of covering. They're closed, but they're not closed in the same way that we're describing over here as being rishum. That's a more permanent and a more effective way of covering. So therefore, this is going to. Rashi says this person is that we find over here. He's a yachid. He's a distinct minority over here, who's got this barrel which is already sealed because it's not the season yet. It's not the time that they sell. So like that, it's a very rare and odd thing. So that will be enough for it to be a simon, according to that time of year. But when the season opens, so then that's when the storehouses they open for business, and then there's many barrels, many chavios like this that are properly rashum. So then it won't be too much different than the other chavios, and so in that case it wouldn't be a simon. But according to that, the point is not that it's not that the sealing is got a with a signet ring or anything like Tosa says, but it's simply a reshum as opposed to a different type of a closure, which is not as permanent or effective as a reshum. So that's the answer that Abaya gives. Even though actually I'm looking right now at the language of Abaya. Abaya says Afilu tema idi ve'idi berishum. He's calling both the barrels of the Brisa and the barrels of the Mishnah Rishum. So I guess what we have to say is there's Rishum Aleph and there's Rishum Base. So we're talking about a time before the Otzros open up rather for business, that there's only a very very small number of barrels that are Rishum with the top standard Aleph Rishum that is generally during the season. But during the season, that's the norm. So in that case, the Rishum will not be the siman. The very same exact siman, depending on the different time of the year, will be a siman or not a siman. Okay, that's the way Rashi explains it. And again, Tosfos says Pirish Rashi Eno Nira. Tosfos, in any case, has issues with this parish. He says no. You got to say that they are. There's a distinct rishum that every Balabayas has a different rishum. So we said yesterday that Tosfos said that right, and when the otzros are open for business and it's already the season, so then that even that distinct siman won't be an identifying siman, because who's the one? Tosfos says who's the one who's making this rishum? It's the balabayas. It's not the chenvani. Meaning to say that balabayas, he's the producer. He's not the middleman. He's the producer. So he produces hundreds of these barrels, and all of them have his distinctive thing on it. But you got hundreds of barrels with that distinctive thing on it. So during the season, that's not a siman, right? Because like Tosfos says, lo have afilu rishum lo have siman acher sheniftachu ha'otzros. It's not going to be a siman, this rishum, after they open up the season. The storehouses are open and they're selling the barrels. Shabalabayis echad mocher laharbe chenvanim. He's got hundreds of barrels for sale. Let's say this producer, and he's selling them to many different chenvanim. So you got a whole group. You may have 10 different retailers who've got this barrel from the Balabayas that has that very distinctive siman. So it's not so distinctive anymore because there's 10 different people who could claim, oh yeah, that's the barrel that I bought from the Plony, the producer. That's not a good siman. Okay.
Excuse me, I'll be back in a minute, I think.
Oi, what my discussion gave you a headache? Oh boy. Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know. That's what they all say. Say, Rabbi, you're giving me a headache. Okay. Not to make light of Roy's condition. Okay. So so we have two answers to explain the Brisa in the Mishnah. Why the Brisa says Harei Shelo and the Mishnah says Hayv Lahakris. We got Rav Oshia and we've got Abaye. And now the Gemora goes on to discussing something else. Oh, we're going to hear a story that maybe we're going to be able to be machriya. What is the halacha over here? He heard the Rav Yaakov bar Abba. And we go to Lou to read the story.
Okay, let's see. Ki ha de Rav Yaakov bar Abba. This is like that ruling which was issued in the case of Rav Yaakov bar Abba. Ashkach chavicha chamra. He found a container of wine. La'achar sheniftechu ha'otzaros. After the storehouses had opened.
Oh,
Ata lekamei de Abaye. He came before Abaye to ask him what should he do with this wine that he found. Amar le, Abaye said to him, Zil shekol lenafshach. Take it for yourself.
grab it.
So he found a barrel of wine after the storehouses opened, but we don't know its condition. The footnote says even if it's resealed, it's not going to help because, like you said, there's hundreds of them.
I mean, presumably, Abaya over here is ruling in this case like the way he taught.
Right.
That's what seems to be happening over here. I don't see any proof from this what the halacha is. Of course, that's what Abaya is going to rule. He's going to rule like what he holds.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we'll see in the we go further.
Okay. Ba'a Mine Rav Bibi Rav Nachman. Rav Bibi inquired of Rav Nachman, Mekom Have Simon. Is the place an identifying mark? In other words, if he found it in a specific place, he make an announcement and say, "I found a barrel. Tell me what the place was."
Okay.
Lo habi simon, or not. Amar lay. He answered him. So this is Rav Nachman answering Rav Bibi. Tenisua. You have learned the answer to this in the Brisa. Matzah chavios shel yayin. If one found kegs of wine, v'shel shemen or oil, v'shel tavua or grain, v'shel geros or dried figs, v'shel zaysim or olives, hare elu shalo.
Right.
These belong to the finder. So the question was, is the place an identifying mark?
Right.
And the answer is, we have a brisa that says if you found any of this stuff, it belongs to the finder.
How does that prove whether mokum is a siman or not?
Right. That's what I was wondering.
So maybe it's like this. If we'll say that mokum is a siman, what does that mean? That means that the finder would be required to announce that he found something in a certain mokum. Maybe he's and Maybe he's even allowed to say what it was that he found, because that's not the giving it away. The owner, the loser, has got to come and say, "Oh yeah, you lost a barrel of figs on Fifth Avenue and Broadway. It was my figs. I lost a barrel of figs on Fifth and Broadway just a couple hours ago, whatever it is." So if Malcolm would be a simon, and like that, the finder would be required to give it back to the person that came and told them the place that it was found. If so, then why would this brisa here say if you find figs in on Fifth and Broadway, you can keep them for yourself? You can't keep it for yourself. You have to announce it, because the guy's going to come and say, "Yeah, you found my figs on Fifth and Broadway." So by the fact that it says Harei Elu Shelo, he could keep it, we see that Malkum is not a simon. If you'll ask me, oh, but it doesn't say anywhere in the Brisa anything about Malkum. Right. But isn't everything that's lost, it has a Malkum that it was lost. So you'll always have a simon. If Malkum is a simon, you'll always have a simon. There'll never be a case where you'll say Harei Elu Shelo. There won't be any such thing, because Malkum, wherever you found it, you got to announce that you found figs in a certain place and come and identify the place, and you can take your figs. There will never be a brisa that'll say Harei Elu Shelo. So if there is a brisa here that says Harei Elu Shelo, it must be that we hold that Malkum is not a simon. Sounds like a pretty good proof.
I don't like it, because basically you're assuming it doesn't have a simon. The Brisa doesn't specify. It just says you found this. So you have to assume that it didn't have an identifying mark. It didn't have like somebody's name written on it, or some kind of a special signet ring in the seal, or whatever. You're assuming all of those things didn't exist. So you're also assuming it wasn't in a special place. There doesn't seem to. Why are we focusing on that special place as since there's all these other things that could be simanim?
If it doesn't tell me that it has a special insignia on it, so okay, so it doesn't have one. And if it doesn't say it's a distinctive shape or color, okay, so it doesn't have one. But you can't tell me that since the Brisa didn't say where it was located, that it wasn't found in any place. It was obviously found in some place. So let that place be the place, which is the simon. Why does the Brisa say Harei Elu Shelo? You'll always have Malkum as a simon, l'chora.
I see.
Let's see what the Gemora that I see over here, that Reb Speed has a reservation with this proof.
Yeah. It says the Gemara rejects this proof. Amar Reb Zvid. Reb Zvid said, Hacha b'mayaskinen. Here, what are we dealing with? Berakta de Nahara. They were found on a riverbank. Where the barrels get unloaded by the boats. Since the containers are common here, this place is not going to be significant.
Oh.
That's what I was getting at. There are places and there are places. If I lost it, in the courtyard of the shul, then that's a good sign. That's a good simon. But if I lost it in the loading dock where all the barrels are loaded, that's not a good simon.
I'll tell you why I don't like this answer.
Okay.
This answer is saying that this brisa, even though it doesn't identify that that's where the item was found, this brisa must be talking only about the case where these barrels were found on the shore by the dock where they're put down after they're taken from the ship.
Right.
That's the only case that this Bryce is talking about. That's a big. That's quite a stretch to say that Bryce is only talking about that in one case when it didn't specify that it was talking about any particular location. In other words, true. It's true. We admit that if the barrels were found in Raksa de Nahara, so then Makam won't be a simon. Okay, that's true. But what about every other place in the world? I mean, basically what he's doing, he's admitting that really it is a simon, l'chora. Because he's saying that this brisa, which says it's not, is talking specifically about that one place.
Right.
So actually what he's doing is he's really saying, he's admitting that Makam is a simon. But this brisa, which is saying that it's not a simon in this case, is because it's talking about a very unusual location that it was found, where there's a lot of other barrels just like it that are in that place, because that's where they take them down from the ship. Let's see Rashi.
Okay, there is a Rashi here. Let's see, Riverbank. Barakta de Nahara. Barakta de Nahara. The bank of the river. V'hayin ba the ear bishfina v'halok khan mifanim hashfina umenicho al sfas hanar v'noshin achas upa'amim shochach. So the wine in it, the ears, the city.
Oh, hayayin bo, the yayin comes.
The wine comes to the city.
Yeah.
Bishfina.
Bisfina.
Spina.
By ship.
By ship. Bahalokechin. And it's unloaded.
And the purchasers.
And the purchasers sometimes Hasfina, the boat.
Mefanin hasfina umanichin.
The boat is resting.
Mefanin hasfina, they clear out the sfina, meaning they empty the sfina of these barrels, umanichin al svasa nahar, and they placed them down on the shore over there of the river, on the bank of the river.
In other words, they unload them from the boat.
Yeah. So you got a whole bunch of barrels of wine over there in this location. Raksid Nahara. That's Aramaic for Svata Nahar, the bank of the river.
V'nos in achas, and they take them one by one.
Right.
Upamim, and sometimes they forget.
Sometimes they forget one. So then you got a forgotten barrel over there on the bank of the river.
And that's the one that we find.
So if you tell me that, you found it on the bank of the river, that's what the Bryce is talking about, which the din is Harei Elu Shalom. Because there's many, yeah.
There's no way to figure out which boat it came from.
Yeah. Right. So
maybe the Bryce.
So that could be, in other words, this barrel, it could belong to any one of the purchasers over there who purchased a barrel and put it down on the shore over there.
Right.
It's not just one guy that purchased a barrel of wine over there. There's a whole bunch of guys over there. So the fact that you're saying, oh yeah, it was my barrel, and the simon is in this by the riverbank, shkoyach. That's not a simon at all.
Right. And maybe the Bryce is assuming that this is the case because this is the common case. Barrels usually are not going to be found anywhere except here, because here Rashi's saying the reason is that they're loading and unloading and something got forgotten. That's a pretty common occurrence. Whereas for it to be found in the courtyard of the shul, how did it get there? It's very rare. It's not worth talking about.
Yeah, so that's why I say that really, this is not disproving the assertion that who was it, Rav Nachman? That Rav Nachman said over here that you see from this brisa.
Right. Brisa doesn't prove it or disprove it.
Well, I mean, the way Rav Zvid is answering it, he's saying the reason why it says Harei Elu Shalom is because it was found on the riverbank. And what if it's going to be found anywhere else in the world? What will the din be? The din will be you'll have to announce the place you found it, because makom should be a simon in that case.
Right.
So, I mean, generally speaking, in other words, makom is a simon. There's always exceptions to the rule. Here's the exception to the rule. This is the exceptional case.
Right.
But the rule is that the makom should be a simon. That's what would seem to come out from this story over here. Okay. Very good.
Thank you, Rabbi.
We wish everybody have a great day, and refuah shlema to Rabbi Fairman. Had his operation yesterday, Bez Hashem,
How'd it
and
go?
I have to call him up. I hope hope it went well. Bez Hashem.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll call him also. All
Yeah,
right.
good idea.
Thank you, Rabbi. Have a
All
great
the best.
Good day.
Good day, Phil.